Welcome to another episode of the King Obed Podcast. In today's episode, are you struggling to find love? Have you been in a breakup? And how did you recover from this? With me is a seasoned love coach and a dating strategist who has been helping many people to come out of, their shell in trying to find love and also exploring the world of love. With me is Carisa Montooth, who is an international speaker, has dealt so many times with people trying or struggling to find love. And she is here today with me, and we'll break everything down for you. If wherever you find yourself, if you are struggling or you are in love, you are enjoying love, and anything about love, my guest is a seasoned expert. So welcome to the King Obed Podcast, Carisa.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So if you say you are a sixth generation healer, what does it actually mean?
Mm-hmm. That means that going back to my great grandmother, we have all been healers in my family.
Okay.
So we did different things. Some of my ancestors were dowsers. Some of my ancestors were naturalists. Some of my ancestors were doulas and midwives. But we've done that kind of work, whether it's helping people with those kinds of things in their lives, or whether it's helping people to heal their hearts and create the kind of lives that they want to have.
Okay. So you have been coaching people, helping them to find love. Someone will ask, do I need a coach to find love? Because love is everywhere. We are all, enjoying love. We are all having love and everything. Do I need a coach to guide me to find love?
Well, I guess it depends. If you keep experiencing the same kind of disappointment in love over and over again, then you might need a coach, because that's someone who can look at the situation with a new pair of eyes, a fresh pair of eyes, and help you to understand what patterns that you might be having that you may not recognize when you're in the middle of them.
Okay. So you have been helping people. What are some of the common stuffs that you hear people come up with, and then you try to help them in terms of, maybe finding love, dealing with breakup, and all those?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, most of the people that I help are women. And the two big groups of women that I help are women who have they got married very young and they never kind of learned how to date. They had children right after they got married. And they decided that after their divorce, they just wanted to make sure that their children got all the way through high school, and they didn't really think about themselves or care that much about their love lives. They just wanted to be the mother and take care of the kids. So they did that. Now their kids are in college, or they're finishing high school. They're going off and having their own lives, and now they're thinking, well, what about me? I deserve to have love, and now I have the time in my life to do that. The other group of women that I work with are women who are very, very successful. They are women who are in the entertainment industry, women who are C-suite executives, women who are 7-figure business owners, and they are women who have had to hustle a lot in a world that needs a lot of masculine energy. And it's really difficult for them sometimes to be able to shift into feminine energy, to be able to have the kind of relationship that they want to have.
Okay. So with all this coaching that you've done for people, especially with women, what is number one challenge that you have identified, and why do you think that women especially struggle to find love? And especially those who are at the helm of affairs, like who are successful, who are entrepreneurs, who are doing so well in the world, they are struggling to find love. What's actually the problem?
Well, the problem for both ends up being the same. And really, it's a belief that says that the kind of love that I want is not actually out there for me. There's a scarcity of that kind of love in the world. The type of partner who would be a good partner for me there's not enough of those people in the world.
Okay.
When women are kind of like really successful, what they usually think is the kind of men who are similar to me in terms of like their lifestyle and their goals and their values and things like that, they're going to be intimidated by me. They think like they feel like that. Um, and so that's probably the biggest thing that comes up is the belief that the kind of partner that I want just doesn't exist for me. Sometimes also what I see is there's a belief that people will say, I need to change a lot about myself before I can be loved.
Mm.
Or they will believe that that they're like destined to be alone or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. They really, really want to have love, but they'll believe like maybe I'm just destined to be alone. Maybe there isn't really love for me. Maybe I'm one of those people that's supposed to be single forever. So it's a lot of different beliefs that people will have that are not true, but because we believe them and because they feel true, we act on them, and that's what we kind of attract into our lives, things that confirm the things that we already believe.
Okay. Did you ever encounter such belief in your life when you were growing up as a lady or as a woman trying to find love? Did you encounter some of these things?
I did encounter those beliefs. I did have the belief that said like, I when I was growing up, I had gone through some abuse as a
Mm-hmm.
child, as a teenager, and I had a belief that said like, men are maybe going to be dangerous. Maybe it's dangerous to be in love because somebody could
Yeah,
hurt you, or that maybe I don't deserve to have love because maybe I'm not a valuable person, and that's
yeah.
why I was abused or something like that. So there were things that I really needed to heal in myself before I was able to help other people with those things. But once I healed those things in myself, it was really inspiring for me to be able to help other people with those things because I knew where they were coming from.
Mm, 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 mm. That is very interesting because I believe that, like you are saying, people have the belief that they cannot find the kind of love or the kind of man or the kind of woman they want. And so therefore it
Yeah.
makes them relax about trying to find love. And do you think does that elusive thing that we call love does it even exist?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a 100,000% believer in love. I think that love is the most amazing and incredible and only healing force in the world. I think everything actually that connects us has to do with love. I think anything that heals us is actually a form of love. And I think all of it is a form of divine love, you know? So, yeah, 100,000,000,000% I believe in love.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've helped millions or maybe thousands or maybe hundreds of women trying to find themselves in trying to fit into a male dominated world, trying to find love, right? And so what when they come back to you, are they able to get the results after passing through your hands, like you coaching them? Are they able to get the results they wanted?
Yeah, almost 90% of my clients are in happy, healthy relationships within about 6 months of our work together.
Okay, so how does it work? Like, show us how do you work with them? Where do you start from? And then how do you work on their minds to be able to say, okay, you are the best. You need self-love in order to get love. How do you do it?
So I love that you said that about
Yeah.
self love because that's definitely a part of it. But the very first part of it is healing. So we have to do a lot of work to heal heartbreak from the past. So often we go through a breakup, we go through something that happened, and it might not even be a breakup. It might be something about the way that our parents
Hmm.
treated us. It might be something that we experienced when we were really young. But we will have these different beliefs that come out of a breakup or that come out of
Yeah.
trauma or come out of these different experiences. And it makes us believe certain things about
Hmm.
ourselves that are not
Yeah.
true, and it makes us believe certain things about maybe about men that are not true or things about relationships that are not true. And so we have to heal those things. We have to figure out first what the damage is, what
What
happened,
has been what
what
has
are
what
the
has been caused already?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly, because we're always carrying that around with us whether we're aware of it or not. We're always acting out of that pain or we're acting out of those
Yes.
beliefs,
Yes. Yes.
and it can tend to make us act crazy in a new
Yeah.
relationship. So like if we're in a relationship with somebody who's a good person, who's good for us, you know, it can be really hard. We'll still self-sabotage because we're not used to
Hmm.
that. If we haven't healed the things that are happening from the past, we will go back to what feels familiar, even if it's miserable. So a lot of times we have to look at what was the damage that was caused. And the very first part of the work that I do with my clients always has to do with healing from the past.
Okay.
And then the second part is we get really clear on what they want love to be. What does it look like for them? Because really often we just have lists in our head of like what we don't want. We're like, well, I don't want this in a partner. I don't want that in a partner. I don't want this in a partner.
Yeah, but we don't know actually what we want.
Yeah, we just know what we don't
want.
Yes,
but we don't know actually what we want.
Yeah. So I help people look at what they don't want and then turn that into what they do want. Right. So use it as contrast. Right. So if someone is thinking like, well, I don't want somebody who's like, this is an example. If they say, I don't want somebody who smokes. Right. Maybe they say that. So I say, okay, so what you do want is somebody who's really healthy, somebody who takes a good care of their body. Right. Someone where their health is important to them. So I just help them identify and then use that contrast, right? Instead of what you don't want. Okay. So the flip side of that is what you do want. So let's make a picture of what you do want. And I help them to do that in a really clear way. So we're not just looking at superficial things that they want in a partner. Things like, I hope that he, so many times people will tell me really superficial things that they want about a partner. So it'll be like, like where he lives or how tall he is things like that. And I'll just be like, none of that is actually the important thing about your partner. Like what you really want is somebody who's like emotionally healthy, somebody who loves himself. And so he is able to love other people, someone who has deep self-knowledge, someone, not even somebody who's perfect and never been through anything, but somebody who has dealt with his own demons. Like he's dealt with those things. He knows the things that are his triggers. He knows what his trauma is that he's been through. So it's not like about looking for somebody perfect. It's about looking for somebody compatible. And what does that mean for you? What does it mean for you when you think about family, and having someone on the same page as that? What does it mean for you when you think about your spirituality, and having somebody who feels the same way and believes the same things and that you can support each other in that way? So we look at really specific things about what, not just like superficial things about what you want in a partner, but like,
cars, money, all those external stuff that we see.
That's fine. Yeah, but even that thing with money is like, I understand why some women are like, I want a partner who's wealthy. But what I kind of want them to come back to is, why can't you be wealthy?
Yeah.
What is it that makes you believe that wealth has to come to you through a partner?
Yeah.
Why can't you also have abundance and wealth and then have a partner who is in the same place? And what if you have a partner who is at the beginning of his growth in success, And what if he, you and him build something amazing together, So it's not just a thing of like hoping that somebody wealthy is going to sweep in and rescue you. It's like, because wealthy people don't have that mindset. We're not looking for a partner who is like a project for us to rescue.
A rescue mission.
That's not how. No, we don't feel like that.
Yeah.
We're not looking for that. We're looking for somebody who's a partner, and who has a similar mindset, So we look at those kinds of things. So the first thing is healing. The second thing is getting really clear about what you want in a partner and what compatibility really means. Because it's not just like about the cute superficial stuff. It's what does it mean to have a commitment to someone and to be able to grow together, and what's your life going to look together in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, all of those things.
Okay.
And then the third thing we do is we go really deep into the self-love, because every time we deny ourselves our own love and our own care, we're sending out a message that says, I don't believe that I deserve to have love. So don't worry about sending me any. You don't have to send me any love, God, because I don't even believe that I deserve to have it. I'm not even going to give it to myself. So we have to get very clear about taking care of ourselves, practicing self-love. And that sometimes is the three main things I always tell people with self-love is like, don't get into all of this other stuff that's like, I have to have massages all the time, or I have to, do this meditation or go to retreats. It's not. The basic things for self-love are drink enough water, get enough rest, and consistently eat the food that makes your body healthy.
Okay.
And most people don't do those three things, and they're the basic foundation of self-love.
So it's not just about, getting the money, going for the holidays and everything. That is not what actually defines what self-love is, but rather taking care of
No.
the body itself.
Yeah, your body is like, that's the first thing, right? It's like, if your body is not going to function properly, if you're not rested, if your health is bad, all of those things are a foundation for how you do in every other part of your life. So if you're not taking care of your body, you don't need to be worrying about dating. Like, if you're not rested, if you're not hydrated, if, like, those are basic, take care of your body, take care of yourself. That demonstrates love. That demonstrates self-love, self-care, So those are the really important, like, foundations of that. And then you can move into other things. And those are usually things like having good boundaries. So boundaries around your time, like letting yourself, like, if you have goals, you don't let people stop you or talk you out of your goals. That's also a form of self-love. You don't let people that are negative take up a lot of your time. That's a form of self-love. So there are other parts of self-love, but the foundation, the thing that, before I kind of let my clients get into the other stuff, we always are checking in. Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating foods that are good for you? Are you getting enough rest? That's basic stuff, right? So it's the healing, the clarity, self-love. And what were you going to say?
Wow. So you need to heal from your past, because people carry their past into more or less their future relationship or their present relationships, and then it tends to affect the whole current relationship that they have. And with respect to self-love, as you keep mentioning, you realize that people who will say that I am going to find love for the other person to make me better, but it doesn't work that way. You yourself need to make yourself better.
Yeah. Well, and there are certain kinds of healing for our heart that can only happen in a healthy relationship.
Okay.
So it's not like you have to love yourself 100%, like everything. I'm 100% healed. I'm positive all the time. I got I make no mistakes. It's not like that, but it's like, that we have to be oriented toward that, like we have to make ourselves, like, our own healing an important priority. Because if we don't do that, then we just take out our pain or our fear or our anger from what somebody else did. We take it out on the next person.
Right?
Yes, so, like, let's say a great person comes into your life and they just want to love you. Like, they came into your life, they just want to love you, right? But if you've been hurt in the past, you're going to be distrustful about them. You're going to make them, like, jump through hoops to prove themselves. You're going to do all of these things because you don't really trust that they actually want to love you, because you've been hurt in the past and you're still carrying that hurt. So now you're punishing this new person for something that somebody else did. And that, like, kind of the damage that person did to you in the past, you're carrying it forward further than they ever could have carried it forward on their own. Right? Because now you hurt this new person. And now this new person is going to be, like, distrustful, because they're going to be like, I just came here to try to love you. Like, what are you
and
doing?
you are stressing me out. You are stressing me out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to love you. I came with honest intentions, good intentions. I just care about you, and we see that happen a lot with people where really good people, men and women, that had good intentions, come into a relationship with somebody who has been hurt really badly in the past and has not taken the time to heal that pain and to heal that hurt. And they're not able to trust, and they're not able to open up, and they're not able to be vulnerable, and they're constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop, and they don't believe you when you say things, and they constantly take what you're saying the wrong way. And it's a really difficult thing to be, whether you're the person who has been hurt or the other person. The relationship is hard, and for the person who's been hurt, that first healthy relationship that you get into is the hardest relationship you've ever been in your life.
Yes.
It's very difficult because to learn how to trust and be vulnerable is scary. If you've been hurt a lot of times, it is scary, even when you've healed certain things. And you're like, you say the healthy things, you can hear them coming out of your mouth, but you're like, "Ooh, I hope it's okay."
Yes, yes,
The whole time
yes.
you're like, "I hope this goes okay."
So for instance, you see, when people get into relationships and then thinking that it's all they needed, and you realize at a
Mm,
point there's a breakup. And
yeah.
how should people deal with breakup when there's a breakup, and then post breakup trauma? How should we deal with it?
Yeah. Well, the very first part of it is that we don't need to, this is, people give this, the opposite of this advice a lot. So I'm going to say something that I know that a lot of people disagree
Yeah.
with very often. You don't need to force yourself to forgive that other person.
You don't need to
That is
force
not number
yourself
one
to
priority.
forgive that person.
Do not force yourself to forgive the person. Don't do that.
Okay.
We do a lot of damage by trying to force ourselves to forgive the other person because we think we want to be good people, or we think that's what spiritual people do, is that like we immediately have to forgive the person that,
Yes.
that we're breaking up with,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we break up for a lot of different things happen after we break up. We can have anger, and it's like a wound in our heart.
Yeah.
We can have shame. We can have confusion.
Like
We can
bitterness in
have
our
grief.
hearts.
Yep. Bitterness. We can have
Yeah.
fear. Oh my God, what if it happens to me
Yeah.
again? All of those things. So the first thing that we have to do is like give ourselves permission to just go inward for as long as that takes. So sometimes what that means is like, when I've been through breakups, or when clients of mine have been through breakups, they get a lot of pressure that's like, you just got to go back out there and you got to find somebody and all these kinds of things. No, you don't have to do that.
You have to
Don't do that.
take time.
Yes, that's the opposite of what you need to be doing right now.
Mm.
It would be like if you had just had surgery,
Yeah.
right? And then you were trying to get out and exercise again. Like, you actually need to give yourself some time to heal from that. And one of the best things that we can do during those times is to be with people who love us, to be with friends, to be with family, just the people who really love us and care about us and are listening to us. And we need to sleep a lot.
Okay.
Because sleeping is a very healing thing. When we have a breakup, it actually creates inflammation in our bodies. Like, our bodies actually hurt. Our bodies, our joints hurt. It feels the same as if you were slapped. Our body registers it like if you were slapped.
Okay.
Whether you did the breakup, or whether the breakup was your idea and you initiated it, or whether the other person initiated it, it feels like
Either way,
body.
it feels so like hard, like a hit.
Yeah. And our bodies feel like it's a physical wound, like a physical force that happened. So there's inflammation in our bodies. So we want to rest. We want to take like warm, hot baths. If we feel like taking a little bit of a walk or something like that, we could do that. But we don't want to force ourselves to do anything. Like, this isn't the time to be like, I'm going to change my whole life to just show them that I don't need them, or whatever.
I'm going to pay back.
Yeah, this is not the time to get like a revenge body, all those kind of things people talk about. This is not the time for that. It's time for rest. It's time to be with people who love us. It's time to, a lot of times it's good to watch things that are funny, like watch funny movies, funny TV shows, your favorite comedians, all those kind of things, because that laughter is healing. The laughter is a release in your body, and it also releases serotonin, which helps your body heal from inflammation. So there are specific things that we can do that are kind of like the triage from a breakup. It's like we immediately can do these things to help us with the suffering that happens right after a breakup, our emotional suffering that happens after a breakup. And then after we've had some time to do that, and we feel like we have a little bit of energy, then it's maybe time for us to look back at the relationship and think about some of the issues that we might have overlooked in that relationship.
Is it like kind of reflection?
A reflection, exactly. Once we've had time to actually take care of the immediate pain that we're in, then the time comes for reflection.
Okay.
And for us to think about, like, maybe there were some things that I already knew were bad, that I had overlooked because I was trying to have this particular image of love, that I
kind
thought
of
was
protect
good,
the relationship.
Yeah. So maybe there were things that I overlooked. Maybe 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 this person said something to me that other people have said to me in the past too, and that's something that I actually need to take that as important, like an important feedback, or maybe it's something that has to do with like I'm attracting the same kind of person over and over again, and it always ends in the same way. So why do I believe that I deserve that kind of a person? Why do I just believe I deserve somebody who maybe doesn't treat me that well? Because you're the common denominator.
Okay,
right?
you are the common denominator. So like anything be above you should change.
Yeah, well, if you're the common denominator, like if you've had 5 relationships, right, with people who all did you wrong in the same way, you're the common denominator. So even though it wasn't your fault, you have to think, what was it about each of these 5 people that attracted me? Because at some point there was chemistry, and you were sure this was the person for you.
And at another point,
right?
it changes.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're like, what was my thought process? What is my thought process that keeps having me choose people who keep doing me the same way? Right. Okay. So that's all part of that reflection. It's like, well, what is it? Because you're not responsible. Like when people hurt you, it's not your fault that you got hurt, but it is your responsibility to heal.
So breakup will happen, but when it happens, it's our responsibility to get healed.
It's our responsibility to heal. Yeah. And a lot of times people are very hung up in continuing the drama, of a breakup. So they're like stalking people on social media, or they're like trying to do all these things. And, my advice after a breakup is always like, block them on everything.
Yes, take them out of your life.
You take them out completely. Give all their stuff back. You don't need to speak to them anymore. And that's whether the breakup was an amicable breakup or whether the breakup was, a painful, somebody did something bad to you. Either way, like move on, right? You can wish them well, but that doesn't mean you have to stay connected. And especially it's especially difficult to heal if you do try to stay connected, whether that's because you're trying to watch what's going on in their lives, because you're like, well, what if they find somebody and then they're like really good to that person and they don't, they're good to them, but they did me bad. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times that's the people's biggest fear. It's like, well, what if they find somebody new and that if they're good to that person, that means I just wasn't worth it for them to be good to.
So even though we are out of the relationship, but we still harbor that kind of fear in us that when maybe the man finds a better woman than better than who I was or I am, or the woman finds somebody better than me, then it means that I was not the good one.
Yeah, that's what we think. And it's weird because we actually think that other person somehow is better than us. And they're actually not better than us. Like if you know that you're a good person, and you know that like you have good qualities and that your qualities are unique, right? Nobody is going to love somebody else in the world the way that you love. Nobody loves how you love. You're unique.
Nobody loves how I love or anybody loves. Our loves are different. How we express our loves are different.
Yeah. Nobody can love like you.
Okay.
There's nobody who can do that because you're the only you. Right. So if they have something with someone else, that's not because you're not good enough. Like you know what I mean? It's like maybe they need something different in that time, or they need something different in that moment, or maybe they are, if they're not a good person, if they're the kind of person that hurts people over and over again or uses people over and over again, like a lot of people are narcissists and things like that, they're just with somebody who doesn't know that they're a narcissist yet. They're with somebody who doesn't know that they're a cheater yet. They're with somebody who doesn't know that person. So it's not always like, oh, they moved on and now that person's better than me and that's why he can move on to her. It's not always like that. It's not always how it seems. And the weird thing is that we usually don't find out like everybody's talking about closure.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's like, I just need to understand why they did me wrong, right? Everybody says that. But the thing is, like,
we are taking account of the wrongs that happened, what I did wrong, what the other person also did wrong, and why we were not able to settle our differences and things.
yeah. And the truth is, we usually don't find that out until we don't care anymore. So when you've moved on and you're in a new relationship and things are good and happy for you, you'll find out what that breakup that you had was about.
Oh,
You'll understand it better.
okay.
You'll get the information, that piece of information that helps you finish healing about that. But when you want it really bad, when you're just like, why did this happen? You don't get it then.
You don't get it. So
That's not when you get it.
in the heat of the breakup, we don't more or less like make analysis of what led to the breakup or assess what led to the breakup. We don't do that. You allow time to pass, and then later when you've settled or you're at peace with yourself, then you can take a proper review of what actually transpired.
Exactly.
Wow.
Because we need some space, we need some time, we need some healing before we can actually look at it and understand.
But I think that for most of the breakups I've heard and stuff, it's like when it happens, we just want to find out, why did this guy leave me? Why did this lady, leave? And we just want to explain ourselves to people, tell people about the situation, what you did. Maybe you were doing so good, and then but still the other person did not recognize it, and then he or she decided to leave.
Yeah, you get wrapped up in that. Or like if the person did something, it's more difficult to heal from a breakup when the person did when they lied to us, when they cheated on us.
Okay.
It's much more difficult to heal from that kind of a breakup than just a breakup where somebody just goes, you know what, I don't think it's working out, we need to move on.
Okay.
Because if somebody just says, okay, we need to move on, then you can say to yourself, okay, well, we grew in different directions, but I still respect them as a person, they still respect me as a person.
Yeah.
I don't have to be worried that it's not going to like destroy your faith in people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to make you doubt that you are a lovable person. It's like, okay, well, we just didn't work out. It wasn't a good match for us, or we outgrew each other, or we grew apart, whatever. And that hurts, and you still grieve, but it doesn't hurt the same way that it does if you've been deceived or you've been betrayed.
Okay.
Because then you start to doubt your own view of the world. You're like, am I even a good judge of character? How did I not recognize that this person was doing these things? You start to feel like you're crazy.
Yes. Interesting. So it means that when maybe a partner cheats on the other, and for instance, when maybe we decide that maybe let's break up amicably, you are going to feel that breakup when somebody cheats on you more than when somebody says, okay, let's settle this, let's move on, let's move on, because we think that at this point we cannot sort out this difference or differences.
Yeah, it's much more painful and much harder to heal from, and it takes a lot longer to heal from if if the other person cheated on you or lied to you or something like that, if they betrayed you in some way, or you felt abandoned by them in some way, because it doesn't change. Like if you grew apart and that's the breakup, then that doesn't change what you believe is true about yourself. But if somebody cheats on you, if somebody lies to you, it changes what you believe about yourself. Because either you think to yourself, was I stupid and I didn't see it? Or you think that maybe you're not a good judge of character.
Okay.
You're like, how did I think this person was okay to choose to have in my life for so long? And if it happens to you repeatedly by different people, then you feel like, I'm the kind of person people cheat on. I'm the kind of person people lie to. And you think that's like your destiny.
So because
and
it
then it starts
happens
to be,
repeatedly, now you accept it as part of your
yeah, you think like that must just be, I'm that person that people cheat on. That's what you
mm,
believe is like, I must be that person that people just mistreat. And then that changes like your, your self-image, your beliefs about whether you deserve to have love, and your beliefs about, if, about the kind of partners in the world. You're just like, all men are going to cheat. All women are going to
yes,
cheat.
regardless.
It, yeah, like that's just who they are. They're all like that. And everybody's got a friend like that who's just like, all women are
Yeah,
cheaters,
yeah.
all women are gold
It's
diggers,
it's 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 in
and
their
I'm like,
DNA.
yeah, they're just like,
Okay.
they're all users, and all women have that friend who's like, all men are trash and all of these
Mm,
things. And it's like,
mm, mm.
you know, it's all people that have experienced repeated heartbreak and haven't done any healing about it.
Okay,
They just decided they're going to keep their heart
yeah.
safe.
Okay. So men and women who suffer the most after breakup.
Oh my gosh. I can't answer that because I'm not a man, so I don't know how men suffer. I know that they suffer. I think it's more like men and women both suffer after breakups, but the people that don't suffer after a breakup are
Okay.
narcissists,
Okay.
psychopaths,
Okay.
sociopaths. They don't suffer after breakups. They have no sense of like shame or loss or regret.
Mm,
They don't feel like that. So, and like 1 out of 20 people is a narcissist. So we know narcissists in our lives, right now, and people, they're out in the dating pool, you know. So when someone can harm you and not act and move on and not
mm-hmm.
care, that's a narcissist, But in terms of like men and women suffering, I think we must suffer equally, but probably show it in different ways.
Okay.
Because women can go to their friends and they can cry, and their friends can hug them, and they can do all these things. Men can't do that. Men can't do that.
We
And they should be able to. It would be a better world if they could,
yeah, yeah, yes,
because
yes.
they wouldn't have to, but they don't get to have as much of that like emotional. Their friends are going to be like, come on, be strong about it, we'll find you somebody else, like, you know what I mean. Their
Yeah,
friends are
yeah.
are more just
Mm,
like, move on, don't let this get you down and stuff like that. And so you, as a man, you can't really be like, but my heart is broken, but I really loved her.
okay.
Like I saw she was going to be the mother of my kids.
Yeah.
I saw myself being with her forever. They can't say those things to their friends, because their friends are going to be like, get over it. You can't, you got to be
Mm-hmm.
strong. You got to keep
Mm-hmm.
going. Don't, God forbid you would cry and hug your friend if you're a man. you know, they push you off and be like, what's wrong with you? Like, you better like,
Oh my God.
you better tighten it up,
Hmm.
So I think in some ways it's harder for men because they don't have the ability to, or they don't have the opportunity, I should say. They don't have the opportunity and the support to be able to be real about the pain
Okay. Okay. But
that they're going through.
women are able to express it freely to their other
Yeah.
female friends or
Other
colleagues. Yeah.
women will hug you and understand, and you can cry, and they'll listen to you cry, and they'll do things to, like, they'll share with you the feelings that they've had in the past when they've been broken up with. And, you know, there's a feeling of like community,
Yeah.
like, we're taking
Yeah.
care of you. We're protecting you. We're keeping you safe. We're keeping your heart safe. And with men, there's a feeling of like, don't let this drag you down. Like, stay strong. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
You
like
are bigger.
a
You are bigger
different
than this.
sense. Yes, you're bigger than this. Don't let this drag you under. Like, come to the gym with me and we'll just keep working out. And it's
Yeah.
just like,
Yes.
come
Yes.
on.
Yes. 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 Yes.
I don't want to go to the gym, man. I want to cry.
Hmm.
I want to cry and let this out, this grief out.
Interesting. Interesting. You were mentioning of a narcissist, psychopath, and how do we deal with those people? Like women, how do that's or should women deal with these people in terms of maybe when they find themselves in relationship with them, with a narcissist or with a psychopath or whoever it is that is abusing these? women and stuff? How should they handle this situation?
Well, one of the things that they need to do is, like a narcissist or a psychopath, but usually a narcissist, will try to keep you from the other people in your life because the narcissist doesn't want you to be exposed.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're manipulating you, they're mistreating you, they're also trying to isolate you.
Okay, so they
that
keep
you're
you
not able
out,
to.
from the eyes of your friends, family, whoever it is.
Yeah, and it might be through drama. They might tell you lies about your family or your friends, or like, well, your sister is jealous of you and that's why, and she talks about you behind your back all the time.
Mm-mm-mm.
Or your cousin is always trying to hit on me whenever, she comes
Yeah.
over. They'll tell you lies so that you think everybody is trying to attack your relationship. And so then you create these boundaries because you're trying to protect your relationship,
Yeah.
but really they're just trying to isolate you, and so one of the things that we can do is not allow ourselves to be isolated. Keep your connections to your friends and your family. They were there before this person ever came into your life. They should still be able to be there. Have conversations with people directly. When your partner, who's the narcissist, when you start to feel like, okay, I'm getting isolated, and it's because I'm tracing it back and it's all because of some mess this person has been telling me, go directly to the source and talk to them. Don't allow yourself to be isolated. Don't give up your friendships and your bonds with your family because of a partner. A partner should uh, increase the happiness in your life. A partner should make you feel like more a part of the community.
Yeah.
A partner should be somebody who's like, they get along really well with your family. They get along really well with your friends. You get along well with their family and their friends, But what narcissists really do often is that they come on strong in the beginning, and they tell you everything that they think that you want to hear. And they pay really close attention to what you tell them so that they can use that to become the person of your fantasy, right? Like they will promise you forever, and they will tell you that they love you forever, and that you're an amazing, incredible person, and all these things. And they seem like they're very passionate, and they're very romantic, and they're very affectionate, all of these things, but like from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they will slowly begin a process of telling you the opposite of those things. So they'll chip away at your self-esteem and say things like that you're not as attractive as they said that you were before, or that they'll make jokes that are like at your expense.
Yeah.
And it will start to you start feeling like it hurts your self-esteem. And when you point it out to them, they'll lie, and they'll say that you're sensitive. They'll be like, I never said that. They will literally, like a narcissist will lie to you, will say something to you, and you'll say that thing back to them, and they'll be like, I never said that.
So they are more like psychologists.
And you just are, yeah, it's crazy. Like they can be like psychopaths.
Yeah.
And you'll sit there and look at them, and you're just like, no, you just said that just now. And they're like, I never said that. I never said that. And they can say that to you with a straight face. And so they will start off really strong, and then they'll start to manipulate you, and they'll start to gaslight you, tell you that what you're seeing isn't really happening. And then what you do is you keep staying because you keep waiting for it to get back to how good it was at the beginning. Because it was in the beginning, It was the best relationship you were ever in, the most affectionate, the most caring, the most romantic, all those things. So they keep you hooked because you keep hoping it's going to go back to how it was. And then sometimes when it seems like you're going to leave, they do go back to how it was. And you're like, oh, good, we healed this part of our relationship, and we're past that rough patch, and now everything is going to be great again. And that's just part of their cycle of reeling you in, right? And then once you actually do leave, then they start to, like, they want to tell everybody else that you're crazy. They try to create this narrative that and they'll try to make it seem like if you left, because they're about their reputation, right? So they will try to get there in advance so that they can tell people bad things about you, or either they'll tell people real things that you told them in confidence when you were in the relationship, or they will just make things up, or they will imply things. Like one thing that narcissists do really often is they will say things to other people like, I'm really worried about her I'm really worried about her mental state. And it makes, if you hear that, you're like, what? Like she's losing her mind? You make it sound like she's losing her mind. They're like, well, I never said that. I just said I was worried about her mental state. But they plant that seed so that other people will be like, is she losing her mind? And then when you try to say, no, this person did these things to me, they did these things, and you're like really upset because you know how it feels to be lied on. Like if somebody lies on you,
yes.
the first thing you're like, no, that never happened. You get really, really upset and you're trying to tell everybody. But the more upset you get and the more you try to defend yourself, the crazier you look.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and narcissists know that.
Okay. So what's your advice to maybe young ladies who are in this situation, who have encountered narcissists in their relationships, and then they cannot find a headway? They don't even know how to get out of it. What's your advice to them as a love coach, a dating strategist, and your experience in this field?
Yeah. So when they're in that situation, you're out of normal dating territory completely. Because now you're dealing with somebody who has a really serious malignant mental illness. So what you want to do is you need to get in touch immediately with like a therapist who specializes in narcissistic abuse.
Okay.
Because they're going to guide you through. That's not a dating coach situation. That's not a love coach situation. That's not the kind of situation where you try to get advice off of YouTube. That's not the kind of situation where you just talk to your friend.
Yes.
No.
You
Bring
need a
in
professional to deal with it.
clinical therapist who specializes in narcissistic abuse.
Okay.
You bring that person in and they will help to guide you through your next steps and show you what to do. Because sometimes it can be unsafe to try to leave the situation in certain ways. So you need to talk to somebody who understands what this other person is likely going to do and can help you strategize to get out of it.
So
keep yourself safe.
Okay. So there are ladies who keep on asking, why do I, kind of still keep attracting the same type of guy over and over again? What's the situation like? Why is it so? People think that, for instance, if a lady dates a narcissist, it's going to like occur for a number of times, maybe the second, third, fourth, and then he or she keeps asking herself, why is this situation keep repeating itself?
Well, when it happens with someone who keeps dating narcissists, they usually date like maybe two because the experience of dating a narcissist is so traumatic. You either don't date anymore after that, you just don't because you're terrified, or you maybe if you date a second one, you're just like, okay, I'm done. Like it takes so much to heal from that kind of abuse. But for other kinds of things, like say that women, say she's attracting somebody and it's always somebody who just doesn't commit. A situation like that where it's like somebody who doesn't want commitment. Those kinds of things are like, it's usually about what you believe you deserve to have. So you probably saw some signs in that person that they are not somebody who's really big on commitment. A lot of times in the first 5 minutes of talking to somebody, they tell us everything that we need to know and we ignore a lot of it.
Yes, because we are not focused on what they are saying. For what is in our mind is what we are only focused on.
But we're already thinking about them or what we want them to be.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're not listening. So a lot of times with that, we're listening with our subconscious. And if I believe, let's say you and me are on a date, and I believe that men are not, that I only attract the kinds of men who don't commit. Okay. So I'm listening to you, even if I'm not consciously listening to you. If you say things about like maybe that you have, a child with someone that you never got married to, or you say something like that, I'm clocking that in the back of my mind. And I'm like, but I'm going to feel like we have incredible chemistry. I'm going to be like, I really understand you. We have great chemistry. And if you are trying to have a partner who's okay with you not being, even if she says she wants commitment, but she's actually going to settle for someone who won't be committed, you're going to feel like you have amazing chemistry with me. Because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, she understands me. She gets me. Like I told her about this and she was okay with it. And it's just going to feel like we have this incredible chemistry. But really, it's just that we're recognizing the same wounds in each other and they feel familiar. And sometimes it feels familiar on a subconscious, really powerful level. Like it feels familiar in our spirit, not just in our mind. We're like, I've been down this road before and this is what I'm used to. This is familiar misery to me. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what we have to do to be able to get out of that cycle is we have to heal those beliefs. So that's what I do with my clients is I help them pinpoint that. We look at what is the pattern that you've been seeing in your relationships? What is the common belief in all these relationships? And then we go, where did that belief come from? When did it start? Why do you believe that men don't commit? Why do you believe that you deserve a man who doesn't commit? If what you want is a man who commits, why do you keep choosing men who don't? We get to the bottom of those things. And those things are not mindset things. Those things are not like where we just say, repeat these affirmations a whole bunch of times and now you'll believe something different and you'll be fine. We don't do that. The techniques that we use are more to do with connecting in energy so that we can help to clear things out, because some things actually have to be healed in energy. They're not things that we just go, just repeat something a whole bunch of times and you will be done, you know?
Okay.
And it's almost kind of like, a hypnosis impact, or the techniques that I use have to do with connecting with a person in a subconscious way, not just like what are your thoughts you're thinking about all the time, but what do you truly believe is true for you in the world. We have to go down to deeper levels for that.
Okay, so
because it's not just like about attracting somebody. It's about like becoming that version of yourself that can now sustain this new healthy, happy relationship.
Okay.
It's not just like I'm attracting them into my life. I want to sustain that kind of relationship. I want to sustain that healthy love,
Okay.
in the future, even if I feel like if something comes up